The Generally Trivial Podcast. Current events, interesting facts. Yeah, it's crazy, but still so fun. Like Tinder dates when they all go wrong. And even pop-up Cheeto restaurants. Naked burglars, man, they so dumb. The Florida man, gotta watch them though.
Today is Friday, January 26th, 2018. And this is Generally Trivial, where we're going to take a walk on the lighter side of current events. I'm Jeff, one of the hosts here, and today with me I have Shawn.
Hey, yo.
And Jordan.
What's up?
And today we have some fun segments. We have the return of the plot thickens. And we also want to address this Tide Pod controversy. As purveyors of things on the internet involving people doing dumb things, we're well aware of all kinds of other dumb stories that are happening.
Yes,
so
very much so.
We wanted to bring light and attention to the other dumb stories, as well as talking about the XFL. I think this is a great idea. Shawn disagrees.
Yeah, 'cause it's a horrible idea.
I will say that I didn't know anything about the XFL. Like, I'm not old like you guys, and so I didn't know anything about it, and you all had to fill me in. But I think it's kind of a good idea. Like, I'm open to competition for different different leagues, and you know.
See, here's the thing. Like, Betamax and VHS didn't exist at the same time, and then Betamax was like, "Oh man, this is a bad idea. Let's go out of business." And then, like 10 years later, be like, "You know what? We're coming back." That's not how it works.
Vinyl made a comeback.
Sorta. But it's still not the biggest, like, the main way you consume music.
It's not. No, I agree.
Well, with that, we're going to go ahead into Did You Hear?
Hey!
Did you hear?
Did you hear about this one?
Did you hear?
Did you hear about this one?
So, guys, one of the funnest things I feel like about being in a relationship is the ability to have fun with each other. You know, play a prank, you know, laugh and tell some jokes. This relationship is involving jokes even after one of the two has passed away. So the wife of 69-year-old Nigel Fitton, she lost a 5-year battle to cancer in 2013, and before she passed, she wanted to tell her husband, you know, I'm sure she said she loved him, but she also pointed out that she wanted him to carry on something for her, and she said, make sure that you keep watering the plants in the backyard. He loves his wife, even though she's gone, so he's going to keep it up, right? So you're wondering, you know, did she hide something in there? Or is this a weird kind of plant? Is it going to grow up into the roof or something? No, the plants were actually made of plastic, and he only recently realized that all the work he was doing watering these plants constantly was getting him nowhere. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah. He said that he wondered why they still look so good, because clearly he wasn't very good at taking care of plants, because he would have noticed this a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But it's probably just one of those, like, try to keep him active. You know, if he's like 70 years old, he may just, you know, not feel very well sometimes. And this was her way of trying to keep him active.
Or she just thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, that too. I hope it's that one. Like, I'm going to get him before I'm gone. Here he goes.
Yeah. So I just thought it was really fun to see that kind of relationship. You know, they probably had a lot of fun while she was still around, and it's kind of cool to see that kind of living on even after she's passed.
Yeah. It's really good. Speaking of fake and plastic things, so in Saudi Arabia, they are having a festival to celebrate lots of different things, but they do a lot of things involving camels because camels were a big part of their civilization for so many years, going across the desert, things like that.
Right.
Now, they said they used to take care of their camels as a necessity. Now they do it as more of a show and more as fun. Well, okay, I'm quoting the exact first line of this article here in the on NPR because I don't want the negative credit for this pun. Some pageant contestants hit a hump in the road this week.
I would do anything I could to take.
I don't want credit for that. Apparently, a dozen camels were disqualified from the competition. Now, the reason that they were disqualified from the competition is because their owners were getting them Botox.
Oh.
and plastic surgery.
Just, like, tighten up the skin and
Yeah, to make the camels look more handsome, apparently.
It sounds like a lot of drama, Derry.
Apparently, they have the contests and races. Apparently, $57 million is awarded to the winners of between all these contests and races.
Wait, how much money?
I'm interested now.
A total of $57 million.
Okay, so $57 million in winnings.
Yeah, in the overall
So
festival,
spread out.
but just $31.8 million in prizes just for the pageants.
Oh wow!
So these dozen owners, the owners of these dozen camels, were trying to win millions of dollars.
Why do I not have a camel right now?
Yeah, apparently a veterinarian was caught performing plastic surgeries on some of the camels a few days before the pageant.
Jeff, you're not over the hill yet.
They were surgically reducing the size of the ears to make them appear more delicate.
Oh my god!
Was one of the things they were doing.
Okay, so like make the ears smaller, but the humps bigger.
They were Botoxing their lips, their nose, their jaws. They said that, in addition, some people, like for months ahead of time, will start stretching like the lips and stuff of their camels. Like will like pull them back for so many hours a day to stretch them out. It does. It sounds awful. It sounds extremely terrible. All to win money in this contest.
Okay, but there's a dozen camels
That got kicked out, yes. A dozen camels got kicked out.
That got kicked out. I'm thinking like maybe there's only a dozen camels that entered.
There's lots of camels entered, and a dozen got removed because of cheating.
That makes sense. I find that fair. Like
That they got kicked out?
That they're cheating?
Yeah.
Yes, that's fair. I was just going to say, it's fair that they got kicked out.
You know, I don't think that adjusting a camel's looks to win money is a good thing. I don't think it is.
It's about
terrible.
what's on the inside.
Yeah, water.
Besides, those humps are going to sag when they get older.
That might be true, Jeff. That might be true.
I wonder if you need, like, for pageants like this, you probably need, like, a special camel chiropractor
Maybe.
to, like, make sure they're, like, well adjusted and their
Yeah,
spine straight and their, their walk is right.
They probably do.
Are camels' spines straight, or do they follow the humps?
You mean, did the spine go up the hump? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like,
I'm pretty confident the spine's not exactly straight, but it doesn't go up the hump.
well, but what if it does?
You're going to have to Google a picture of a camel spine.
Camel X-ray coming up.
So as a kid, did you all ever roam the woods, find a dead tree, carve your initials into it, so, maybe years down the road you can go back and look at it, see what you've accomplished, and maybe put the date, maybe someone you were, like, hanging out with at the time, best friend or girlfriend or, whatever, right? You ever do that?
I never did.
Shawn, I knew you never did. I knew it. I just knew you would never do that. But I did. Did you carve anything? Like whittle?
In Boy Scouts, we carved stuff out of soap.
Okay.
I carved a polar bear out
That
of
is
soap once.
close enough.
Sean used to carve his way through lots of defenses.
On basketball court.
I heard you're pretty good at the three. The long.
I was really good.
Good for you.
He was more of a 2.
Like foot on the line 3.
No, he was a 2 guard.
Oh, nice.
That was awesome.
Well, there's a surgeon from Britain who, for the very first time,
Cutting for the very first time.
there's a surgeon from Britain who did something very similar with carving his initials and things, and this surgeon just happened to have a couple patients where he initialed and etched his name into their liver.
What?
Yeah. So, these two patients come in, they have issues with their liver. He puts them, sedates them, opens them up, fixes the issue, and then signs it like a painter would, just like.
Okay, so how do you even find out?
Oh, how do you find out that
Yeah.
that actually happened?
Yeah.
Well, so it all goes planned. If you're a surgeon and you're doing this, you hope that they never find out, right?
Right.
But the issue is
Or maybe you do. I don't know.
well, yeah, I guess. But the issue that came up was that one of the other patients had complications later down the road, a couple of years, and so they had to go back in for surgery. And a different doctor, different surgeon found these initials and looked at the records and saw that his initials matched the letters on the liver. So
nice.
He it's Dr. Simon Bramhall. He's 53, and he admitted in court that he did that, and he would take necessary precautions. He would stop the blood flow to those organs while he was doing it, and then bring them back. Add the blood flow back in. So he took the precautions and he was careful, but I don't want someone else's initials. Like, you don't own my liver.
Pretty sure first do no harm should come into play here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I like the idea in most arenas of life. That's not one of them.
No, definitely not.
Well, he doesn't. He got sentenced to
Death.
jail. I don't know. They haven't written sentenced him yet. He's been to jail. He was released on bail, and he has a hearing coming up. So we don't really know how long it would be. What would you give him? Like life, death, 20 years?
I would give him life. I'm capable.
Like a new liver,
Yeah.
a new heart. Give him life.
Every one of his patients gets to carve their initials into his chest. Every
Right.
patient he did it to.
It was only 2, so
Well, then they get it right real big.
16 font on his chest.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
It is crazy. Yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah, like aren't there like assistants in the room with him?
I'm
Usually, yeah, you would think so. They were apparently just cool with it.
I feel like a guy this crazy is like this kind of crazy. You're saying something. I want to remember this.
You're right. It's like some Dexter stuff going on.
So we're going to go ahead into the plot thickens. All right, our first 2 options are 2 odd news stories that we could turn into a movie. Are an Indian man builds an 8-kilometer road through the mountains so that his kids can visit more often, versus a Taiwanese man divorcing his wife because she only bathes once a year.
I imagine an Indian man who has this dream to connect 2 towns that are feuding. And so he takes his first axe as a small child, a pickaxe, and he starts just hacking away at this mountain that's in between these 2 cities. And he digs a tunnel between these 2, connecting them and rejoicing the 2 cities. And in the process, becoming rich because he finds inside that mountain a cave of crystals that he then sells, puts back into the communities, and builds a train between the 2. Boom. Movie.
I would go same story with the guy making the road, except I would go that it's him as a parent, like redemption story,
Yeah.
where he wasn't a good father, and so his kids don't visit him because they didn't like him.
Yeah.
So he's trying to redeem himself by building this road to where they are so he can get there easier and trying to make up for all the things he did in their childhood. And then the kind of ending of the movie is where he's getting kind of close, but it doesn't look like he's going to finish.
Uh-huh.
And he's in the hospital. Yeah. So he's in the hospital, and his kids come to his bedside, and they promise their dad they'll finish the road, and they forgive him, and then they finish the road to their house.
It's like the bucket list. Like you just described the bucket list.
I've never seen the bucket list.
You've never seen it?
No.
You should see it. Watch it, and then Rick and Morty.
I am also going to take that same story, but from a very different point of view than you guys did. This is going to be the slowest burn kind of alt comedy that you could possibly have. Because the whole thing's going to be super serious about him digging this road to see his kids, almost like in the vein of Shawn's movie. In fact, we can use the first hour and a half of your movie. And then only at the end, we'll have him finish, right? He finishes the road. And then right at the end, he's raising his arms in victory as he looks down and can see this town where his kids are. And then sees a little car puttering past just a few feet to the right because there was already a road.
There's already a road.
Our next option is a former nanny in China telling her 27-year-old son that she actually kidnapped him when he was a baby from his real parents and kept him. Or police in the Dutch city of Rotterdam now having the right to confiscate clothing of people who look too poor to afford it. Yeah, that's shady.
You could super abuse that.
You look poor. Let me take your jacket. No, so, okay, I think I'm going to go with the former nanny in China who has this 27-year-old adopted, stolen son. But almost put a little twist on it, as in saying that this child was the son of Liam Neeson's daughter who was taken. And so this is Taken again.
I will find you.
The sequel
and I will
to
kill
the sequel.
Taken 12.
There already was a Taken 3.
There was.
Because it was TAK3 in.
It was.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys haven't seen it yet.
I'm pretty confident it was a pile of hot garbage, but it
I haven't
exists.
seen it either.
So yeah, I feel like this is just opening up another can for the Taken series to just keep going, you know?
There is a series on TV too.
Really?
Yep. Taken.
Cool.
It's a prequel to the movie.
His name's Brian.
His name is Brian. I would go with the other one, but I would make one of the police guy, like the rest of the force is dirty, and they're just like stopping people and being like, hey, you can't afford that, and then they're taking the stuff and keeping it for themselves. But one policeman is like a really cool dude. So what he's doing is stopping people he knows are rich and have nice clothes, and he's like, hey, you're poor and you can't afford that, give it to me. And then he's taking it and giving it to poor people.
Nice. Kind of
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood thing, yeah. So I'm going to take that same story, and we're going to turn this into a super kind of lighthearted, almost like one of those movies that feels like maybe the people were on drugs as they made it. This is going to be a rock opera, and it's going to be the police coming and taking these things, but then there's kind of a riot back and forth for the people to take the fashion back, and some of them are too poor to afford it, but some of them aren't, and they kind of band together, and there's a lot of big musical number at the end where they all kind of hold hands and find a peace there, and we realize that the real fashion police are the friends we made along the way.
Who do you think would be the main actor in that?
Liam Neeson.
It should be titled Gucci for All.
Look, I was thinking like Jason Statham or
In a rock opera.
right. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Would be a good fit for that.
I think I would just harken back to one of the few musicals that I remember all that well, and I would take Christopher Walken.
Nice.
Yeah. He might.
He dances for sure.
Our final two stories are about the Russian Iron Man, who this dude fights off debt collectors. Not quite the same noble cause that Iron Man we're used to. He uses some traps and different things at his home, as well as a titanium exoskeleton he's built.
Where'd he get titanium?
That's probably part of the movie.
Was that that the debt? Did he go into debt buying titanium?
Versus a man in China spending the last 10 years living under a bridge, trying to crack the lottery code. So he had a work injury. He was given roughly $50,000 American. Decided rather than to invest it or put it towards a house or something, he spent years living under a bridge trying to find out the right algorithms to win the lottery. So
did he win?
He says he's now cracked the code, but he hasn't.
But he can't prove it.
Not yet.
All right, I'm going to go with the Russian Iron Man. And I'm going to tell you how he got his titanium. So I imagine this Russian man still lives at home with mom. And he is employed by a local paper company delivering papers only throughout the week. And so most of his day is open. He has a lot of free time, but he gets paid a hefty premium. And the company provides him a company bike that often gets stolen. That bike is made out of titanium.
he's reporting it stolen once a week and then smelting it down.
So wait a minute. This guy is not only making apparently good money on a paper route.
He's saving by living at home.
They also give him bikes made out of titanium. Continue.
Yes.
So where does the debt come in?
The debt comes in because he has to buy the hydraulics and all the equipment to form and fit and, like you said, smelt these bikes and then develop.
So the only reason he has to fight debt collectors is because he has a suit to fight debt collectors.
He wanted to build a suit to fight debt collectors.
Russian Iron Manception.
But this could be a sci-fi film based on time traveling.
Time travel.
Listen, the reason he has debt is he came to the future to escape that debt. So he's disguised. He's got this paper route. He's trying to build this battle suit to
go back to the past. To prevent himself from ever going into debt.
The end.
Interesting.
Time travel. I had something about the guy living under the bridge. Yeah, he just lived under a bridge. I'm done. You got that one. You win. Shawn, if you want to crack at it.
I mean, I don't think I could do better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it, I guess.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk about the Tide Pods. This episode brought to you by Dave's Yoga Dojo.
Yow.
You know, they wash things.
They do wash things.
Yep.
And sometimes when we were little, our parents used to tell us they'd wash our mouths out with soap.
All the time.
Yeah, my mom told me probably not nearly as much as she should have. Because when I was little in elementary school, I was in a cussing club. She wasn't real aware, but we would sit at lunch since none of the kids in that club were allowed to curse. We would just sit and we would say a cuss word and then giggle about it. And probably needed some Tide Pod discipline in my life at that point. But there are a lot of people out there in the world actually trying this idiocy. And what we're going to do is list some stories, and we will tell you whether or not these people are dumber than the people eating Tide Pods.
Ironically, it's the same people who are investing in the XFL.
Yeah, and they're about to be dumb and rich. So, the first story is about a driver in Vermont. They borrowed a friend's Jeep, and they were navigating. Instead of using Google Maps or another option, they were using the app Waze, W-A-Z-E. I like the Waze app. It helps you out, tells you if there's slow traffic due to accidents or if there's police ahead. A pretty sweet app.
I don't like the name.
Gotcha. So they were driving the Jeep, again, not their Jeep, and drove it directly into a lake because they told the police that the Waze app told them to. So was this dumber than someone eating a Tide Pod?
No, it's not dumber than someone eating a Tide Pod.
I'd be willing to bet that they were on Tide Pods when they did it. So their really dumb decision led to that dumb decision. So the Tide Pod was still dumber.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also going to say no, it's not dumber than eating a Tide Pod. Also, Tide, I tweeted at you, this is clearly the best time you're ever going to have to start your own podcast. Because if you had the Tide podcast, people would subscribe for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. You hook up with Outcast and have the intro say something about so fresh, so clean. Yeah. All right, our next story is about a Chinese man known only as Zing. Probably said that. He has gone mute after pretending to not be able to speak for 12 years to avoid capture. This is actually for murder, so not quite as funny as some of our other stories.
Yeah.
But he pretended to be mute for 12 years and now has actually become mute and is unable to speak. Was this man doing this task dumber than someone eating a Tide Pod?
No. He was super smart because he was avoiding being caught by the police.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, but okay, look. When you're a little kid and you're like sticking your tongue out, making a funny face, your mom's like, don't do that or it'll stay that way. Okay? He should have listened to his mom. Don't do that. You're not going to be able to talk to you.
But it worked out great for him because he just became what he's already pretending to be anyway. So now his cover's solid.
All right, I changed my mind. I'm with Shawn on this one.
They can't jab him with a pin and he can't go, ow now. like he's quiet.
I'm also saying that eating Tide Pods is dumber. Florida man. Our buddy Florida man, he's at it again.
This is probably dumber.
This time he's been arrested for a DUI after trying to order a burrito at a bank drive-thru. He was passed out in the bank drive-thru, woke up, tried to order a burrito. They told him, "Sir, this is not Taco Bell." He pulled forward to the front part of the parking lot and then was apprehended by the police.
Nice.
Was this man dumber than people eating a Tide Pod?
I think this one actually might beat the Tide Pod for once. I think it's pretty dumb to just wake up in a parking lot. You don't know where you are. Pull up to the first window that you see and assume that they're going to have tacos there. And then in fact that you pull around the corner because you find out, well, I'm an idiot. There's no tacos here. And then you get a DUI.
But counterpoint, tacos are awesome.
Tacos are awesome.
I don't know if it's dumber just because I was once with a friend who drove through a drive-thru just to yell that another drive-thru didn't give him his fries.
I don't know who that would be.
And he was completely sober, so...
High on life, bro. Yeah. So, to me, not dumber than eating a Tide Pod.
It's close. He was drinking and driving, so it's close.
He did park.
Well, after he drove to the bank.
Yeah. He might have just drank at the bank. That's a great album name. Drink at the bank.
Drink at the bank.
It'd be like a good Mouse Rat album title.
It's probably a crappy country song.
Drank at the bank.
Now I gotta make a deposit. Finally, police in Maine made an arrest of a man who had an unusual way to avoid a sobriety test. He got pulled over. He was asked to perform the sobriety test and decided that he would punch himself in the face until he bled. Now, this was partially successful because instead of the sobriety test, the police then had to tend to his wounds. But he actually ended up with more citations because not only did he have the DUI, but he was also accused of falsifying information, and so sort of backfired. But was he or was he not dumber than someone eating Tide Pods?
Again, I kind of have to go with yes on this one. Like, I think it's dumb to punch yourself in the face. Okay, like eating a Tide Pod is one thing. Like, you're doing that, you could spit it out. But it takes a lot of willpower to punch yourself in the face and cause yourself to bleed. So
It does.
that's dumb.
That's why I'm saying it's not dumb, because that bro, like, he can hit. Imagine the power you base from, like, the lower extremities there. If you're hitting hard enough to pop yourself back, like, you don't want to mess with that guy.
I say it is dumber for two reasons. First of all, once again, he was driving drunk. Real dumb. Second of all, he actually thought just punching himself in the face was going to somehow get him out of the situation. Like, unless you punch yourself in the throat until your throat collapses and you can't breathe out the alcohol-soaked breath anymore, you're not getting out of it.
He's like, sir, have you been drinking? He just starts wailing on himself.
You can't prove it.
Like that right there proves that you're probably drunk.
You were on something.
Maybe he was on Tide Pods.
Could be.
Yep, it's dumber.
Dumber.
All right. Well, I disagree. And because of that, I'm going to have to give a recommendation of stop eating Tide Pods. What are you doing?
Well, yeah. Idiots.
Eat donuts instead.
Yeah. Donuts, tacos. Eat your fist as you punch yourself in the face. That's fine. It's all good. All right, guys, we want to say thank you to all of us who listened today, and for everyone who's listened for a while. We appreciate you, both long and short-term listeners. If you don't mind, if you're listening on whatever device or app you're using, go ahead and click subscribe. Have your mom do it too, because she would love this show.
And your mom listens to you, so
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah, have her listen. But we definitely appreciate you guys listening. Today on the show, we were Shawn.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Jordan.
Thanks for joining us.
And I am Jeff, and we are out.
Sometimes I imagine that I have lasers in my hand, and I'll stick my hand out the window like this, and I cut the earth to make it flat.